Men who aren't dating. Why? Got cheated on in my 20-year marriage and divorced. Then dated a wonderful woman for about 8 months until she said she wasn't ready to be in a relationship. I'm realizing I'm not ready to trust anyone with my feelings again. I'm 45 with 3 kids and keeping them the focus of my life. Dating feels like too much effort, and I did a lot of work on myself and my mental health, so I'm just enjoying my own company now. Story 2. I feel like the kind of person I'm comfortable being and want to be, and the kind of person that would be successful in dating probably don't overlap much, if at all. Nor do I have any interest in being judged for what I like, what I think, and who I am. So if I fall backwards into a relationship one day, I'll gladly pursue one, but I've got a little interest in doing what it takes to actively pursue one at this point. Story 3. Dating apps have actively destroyed chronic users' ability to experience empathy. 15 to 20 years ago, you'd bump into someone in a zero-pressure environment, hit it off with them, exchange information, and maybe a relationship develops from that, maybe not. Best case, maybe you get a long-term relationship from it. Worst case, you just met an awesome person who you're going to love being around. Now, before you even know how a person laughs, you can instantly write them off as a not option based solely on a handful of photos and a stupid blurb about them on a dating app. The apps provide a sense of instant gratification, a whole human reduced to a single binary decision on whether or not you'd eventually like to have intimacy with them. It's honestly revolting. No wonder why so many people are disillusioned with dating. I would be too if I had to treat people I don't even know like that. 15 to 20 years ago, everyone you swipe away in 5 seconds might be people you actually really like if you just stumbled into them. You might actually like the way they talk, the way they carry themselves, the way they talk to you, the jokes they tell, etc. You might think, hey, I kind of like this person. We should go on a date. All that organic nature of socializing and developing interest, it doesn't even exist on dating apps. Instead, you're forced into arranging an awkward meetup with someone you wouldn't even want knowing where you live. Pretend you didn't select each other on the sole basis you're both attractive enough to have intimacy for one another's preferences, and hope you actually like each other in the process. No wonder people freaking hate dating. Dating apps don't want you to think of the people you see as people. They want you to see them as options, like applying for a freaking job. Disgusting. These apps are so insidious they rank and score everyone in them secretly. It's like a game. They do this by design. They're meant to trick people into constantly fear-mongering themselves. They create false senses of FOMO and want you to keep questioning your value, your worth. They make you think, this person is cool and all, but someone else might be better. I don't want to settle, right? They want you to keep coming back and swiping. They don't want you to develop an actual meaningful connection with someone. They don't make money if you do. Furthermore, it is easier for a person to remove themselves emotionally from things they do or people they engage with when it's online. Ghosting, being generally mean and abrasive, etc. are all easier pills to swallow when someone who isn't looks matched to you tries to say hello. You don't know each other. This person will never see you. You have no obligation to be kind to them. These things literally make people more mean and hateful. I'm positive there are people out there who will still prefer meeting someone organically. The thing is, those people are not going to be on dating apps, and unfortunately, online dating is how a significant portion of people are expected to meet. To be honest, I think the worst possible advice anyone could give to someone seeking romance is to put them on a virtual meat market filled with apathetic, miserable people. It is worthless advice. It will not get them what they're looking for. Story 4. Quality has dropped significantly. There are too many delusional people out there with no grip on reality. Most seem trapped in the social media illusion, where life is all about luxury, effortless success, picture-perfect couples laughing in fancy restaurants or lounging at high-end resorts. I'm honestly tired of it. To some extent, it feels like almost everyone's playing that game. I've tried everything. I significantly lowered my standards, dated single moms, older women, younger women, people from every background. Rich, poor, middle class, unemployed, students. Maybe I'm the problem. If so, I think it's better for me to step away from the dating scene altogether. Story 5. Rather than the self-deprecation route that will no doubt dominate this thread, I've gotten pretty comfortable. And by that, I don't mean that I'm stuck in a rut. I genuinely enjoy my time, and I've got a pretty good thing going for myself. Now, would all the things that come with having a partner be great? Love, companionship, comfort, shared interests, social gatherings, intimacy, someone to split the bill with. Yes, matter of fact, they'd be ideal. Cost of living crisis and all that. But the concerted effort of getting back out there, especially after a couple of hits, is a daunting one. And while the general advice is always start doing things you like, find hobbies, and you'll attract like people, I already do those things. I'm not waiting around to take people on dates. I'll take myself. Movies, concerts, bars, restaurants, holidays, the whole shebang. So in short, it's not that I'm not dating, it's that I'm not primarily actively pursuing dating. Story 6. Not worth it. Online or app dating has really ruined dating. Like, truly ruined it, or at least from my experiences, it's telling me this. I used to love the whole process of dating. Now I just can't stand it. The way apps work has led to women thinking they have an endless list of men chasing them, and it's told the men it's not really worth the effort. Go and look in the Tinder sub. Some guys are swiping on thousands of women and getting a handful of matches, and it's going nowhere. These are just regular guys. These aren't some Quasimodo-looking schmucks. I think it's turned some women into thinking they're 10s when they're average, and it's turned some men into feeling like 1s even though they're also average. I think the overall effect of this is quite catastrophic in the grand scheme of things. Story 7. I'm an introvert and I have muscular dystrophy. I've come to terms that I'll exist within loneliness for my remaining 15 years-ish. Women my age, late 40s, want a man who has a nice smile, goes for long walks on a beach, likes to travel, etc. I can't smile. I can go for short to moderate walks on flat surfaces. I love to travel, but I can't pull around a lot of luggage and other physically strenuous things. No one wants damaged goods. Story 8. A lifetime of thinking I was downright hideous ended any kind of confidence I had. It was only last year, at 27, that I realized that an idea came from a lifetime of comparing myself to my brother, who was easily a 9 in the looks department, who I always idolized and put on a pedestal way above where I put myself. I also kept comparing myself to the kind of handsome he is. He's prettier and I'm burlier. If I'm indeed handsome, then it's in a different way than he is, and it took almost my whole life to even think of burly as being good-looking. I'm still fat, but people said I carry it well. On top of that is the fact that I've only really now started coming out of my shell socially. I guess stuff at home growing up led me to cope by withdrawing into solo activities, playing games, watching anime and wrestling, reading, and I kinda hated going out to social gatherings. I had some friends in high school, sure, but we mostly drifted apart, and I haven't really made any outside of school or work. My inner circle's really just my brother. Both of those things have led me to having almost no experience in anything romantic. My only experiences are having crushes and once in high school asking a girl out. I took time to think about it before saying no, so I'm honestly scared because I have no idea what I'm doing for a friend, much less a girlfriend. And on top of that is the fact that now, even after all these years, as much as I want to be in a relationship and as much as I yearn to be in love, I'm genuinely scared that I'm not capable of truly loving someone or that I won't be able to fall in love. And of course, that someone could love me. I've got a class reunion coming up though. Maybe something will change there. Story 9. I'm disabled, ugly, dirt poor, and have more mental health issues than most people. I know what I look like and I'm not desired, so why bother? Besides, in my youth, I'm about to be 49, I dated a bit. My first 2 girlfriends cheated on me, and the third, who was a saint, I drove away because I preferred drinking at the time. I'm sober now. I'm not the kind of guy that is good at relationships. I do feel lonely, and yeah, it would have been nice to have someone to share life with, but it just was not in the cards. I have no advice for you folks, other than try not to be a schmuck to each other. Story 10. I've watched couples I grew up with in high school. They went on to get married and have families. All of them were ripped apart by infidelity. My single friends now hopelessly scroll various forms of social media, trying to capture some pathetic essence of a connection. I have a daughter who's almost 13 now. She was the result of an affair with my high school choir teacher. He was also married for 10 years at the time. Somehow they're still together. Once you become disillusioned with romanticizing, you see the truth pretty clearly. The only ones we belong to are ourselves. Story 11. I'm 39. I used to meet girls all the time, seemingly without a ton of effort. Over the past few years, it's just gotten more and more difficult, even with applying a ton of effort. It seems to me like social trends of women hating men and being intentionally difficult about every little thing and acting like I'm just one of many options. I'm not going to apply maximum effort if it's not reciprocated. The bottom line, in my opinion, is that there's been an overcorrection with feminism, which has just made women hostile and nobody can make them happy. I'd still like to have a girlfriend, but have extremely low expectations. Also, at my age, most women have kids, and I'm not into that. Story 12. I don't care anymore. The idea of a committed relationship sounds nice, but I don't have enough interest in it to go out and try to make it happen. Reading signals and flirting and trying to figure out if there's any interest there, that's all very unpleasant to me. Not to mention the early stages of a relationship. When you're trying to gauge each other's intentions, it's awful. Besides, I'm pretty happy with my quiet single life. When you don't have a romantic relationship, the potential for relationship-derived drama and stress is literally zero, and I get to spend my free time however I want. Just today, I spent a couple of hours finishing off a big book that I'd been reading, then I went out and bought some more books and a big stack of records, and then I stopped off for a couple of beers on my way home. The whole day had all the logistical planning of a total whim, and I went about it entirely at my own pace, without someone harping at me and turning the day into a whole production. Story 13. The pendulum swung so hard in the female's direction for so long, now it's starting to swing the other way. It's expensive for men to date, and they feel that they get trampled on due to terrible double standards, and it's gotten worse with blatant disrespect. Furthermore, they can get their dopamine hits from online, video games, grass, etc., and from what I see, women aren't really making themselves available. They don't go out with 1 or 2 friends and are open to meeting somebody new. Instead, it's a dozen friends for a girl's night out, and they'll just mock the guy for approaching them. It's difficult enough to approach a woman when she's by herself. Having a dozen of her friends there is super intimidating. Now that's what I'm hearing from men. I do think there's a lot of unwarranted hate towards women from men with regards to dating. Story 14. Not single now, but I was for a very long time. When I was single, I'd given up on dating. Dating apps made it extremely frustrating and expensive to look for a partner. The price of dates took a toll, since they weren't even leading anywhere and it's expected for the man to pay. I thought about meeting and approaching women in person instead, but saw online a lot of hate on men hitting on women, and I didn't want to come off as creepy to people who aren't initially attracted to me. So I gave up and decided to stay single. Luckily, my girlfriend actually made the first move, and the rest is history. I'm happy I found the woman of my dreams and have been in love every day without missing a beat. Advice to women who are actively interested in dating and finding a partner is shoot your shot too. Story 15. Women have always been the pursued in dating. Men are expected to do the pursuing. Women had to do next to nothing. When I was in the dating scene, I met women who had no food in their homes. Why? They had a date lined up for every night of the week. Free food. Of course, the men were expected to pay and pay and pay. Some of those women made more than I did and were simply banking their whole check as different men bought them dinner every night. And now dating has gone from merely expensive to actually dangerous, as men are seen as creeps. The wrong word, touch, gesture, or experience can lead to public humiliation or even criminal charges. Women face none of those dangers. All that's happened now is that men are tapping out of this rigged game. You want to have it all, ladies? Well, go have it all. Without us. We're watching from a distance, amused. Story 16. The end goal of dating is marriage. I've been divorced, so my answer is, why would anyone in their right mind sign a contract that's till doom do you part? A contract that the other party, wife, can leave for any reason, take all you own, get alimony, and if you have kids, child support, and your retirement. Basically rob you blind. Because of the fear of divorce and she knows it, you're trapped for life. So why would any man be trapped for life? Do you want me to go out of my way asking many women and get rejected many times to reach that goal? Wine and dine you on my dime? Nah, I'll pass. Story 17. Relationships are now optional. People forget how recent this is. Your parents had a choice who to be in a relationship with, but to live any sort of healthy or normal life, you had to be in one. Millennials are the first generation with a true choice. Seriously, think about it. Just consider how much time the internet saves you in a week. Needed to adjust my 401k contributions, did some research online and changed it via an app. For my parents, that would have been an afternoon in the library and a lunch hour on the phone with a rep at best. Or worse, going to a physical office and waiting to meet with someone. Needed to buy some sneakers. I found what I wanted online and ordered via an app while on the toilet. My parents would have at least spent 2 to 3 hours in the mall, plus 30 minutes travel each way. That's half an afternoon. The more price sensitive you are, the longer this takes, since comparison shopping is a pain in real life bouncing around town. I can check MSRP and what stores are selling them for in seconds. Needed to book a trip. Again, did it via phone while waiting for a train. My parents would have had to visit a travel agent, get info, spend time on the phone, etc. Hours. My dishwasher needs replacement soon. Did some research online for what I want to do replacement-wise. My parents would have spent time at the library looking at something like consumer reports, then went to a few stores to get info or pricing. This would be a few afternoons worth of work that I did in an hour. This is all in just the last few days. My parents couldn't do this solo. This is a full-time job and it's just some one-off tasks. Marriage makes it possible to divide labor. This is why the movie stereotype of a single guy is always a fat slob with a beater car or a wealthy nerd in an empty house. Because that's the reality. You can't have it all when you have to do it all manually. I did most of this from my phone while doing other stuff. Relationships are a choice now, and that's just the necessities. You also have some other perks of not being in a relationship. Freedom to do what you want with whom you want and nobody to answer to. The only big perk of a relationship is splitting rent. Story 18. I haven't dated since 2021. Dating in 2025 is exhausting. Like other people have stated, the internet has turned relationships parasitic. In my experience, females aren't even looking for love, but for someone to pay their bills, do their hair, and whatnot. LMAO. If it isn't that, then it's having numerous partners. Somehow, cheating on your significant other has become cool in some people's eyes, and I'd rather just be alone and focus on my goals. If I see a pretty girl, I wouldn't even say anything nowadays. Some advice someone gave me is that women's beauty is like an art in a museum. You can acknowledge it without having to touch all over it or bring it home with you, and that advice stuck with me. I wouldn't even say I'm particularly lonely, I just surround myself with friends in my career, but I'm sure the right one is out there for me, but I wouldn't say I'm really looking for them at the moment. Story 19. Couple of reasons. For the last 2 years, I was working overnights, which didn't leave much room for doing much of anything. I'd wake up, have just enough time to go to the store, cook or eat or whatever, and then head to work. The women at that shift were absolutely insane. One of them cries the moment the headset stops listening to her and has run clear across the building screaming her head off because something fell over. The other was sleeping with her boss. Her boyfriend found out and harmed her and the boss multiple times. The second one is still with her boyfriend after that. The 2 women at my new job are both cool as heck, but one is taken and the other is gay. Both of my friend groups imploded, so I don't really have anyone who could hook me up with anyone. The first group was defending Elon Musk's salute and I wasn't having that stuff. The second group, I asked someone out, she said no. I dropped it, but we still hung out. She got angry because I had a casual thing with someone else, got me kicked out of the group for a bunch of made-up reasons. Since I only started working a normal shift about 2 months ago, I've been busy taking care of other stuff and haven't had a chance to really get out there yet. Story 20. Not sure how to do it. Divorced, living with parents, trying to raise 3 kids, working an unfulfilling job that barely pays enough to cover car and grocery payments. I have practically zero free time between kids and work and have always been very introverted, so none of my hobbies make it easy to meet people. Dating sites are bot-filled hellscapes from what I've seen online. More and more, it just seems I'll have to be comfortable being single forever. I had my shot and it fell apart, so unlike her, I don't get a second chance. I don't even know how to approach women anymore. I'm rarely in any setting conducive to approaching women. I'm either in a business and they're at work, not ideal. On the job myself, not professional to approach women when I'm working, could get me fired if someone complains. Or I'm at home. I can't really go out and do things related to my hobbies because I'd need to bring my kids. They're good kids, but they're all really young, and wrangling all 3 of them just for a Walmart run is a damn Herculean ordeal, let alone trying to take them with me to a convention or concert or damn gardening expo. Doing anything solo with 3 kids as young as mine, 6 and under, is hard as heck. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more videos like this. Story 21. I'm in my let's just delete the apps phase. I come back every few months and it's the same old thing. Same people. If you get lucky to match with someone seemingly normal with their life together, you get ghosted or ignored. If you're lucky enough to actually talk to them, they avoid making plans and are just looking for pen pals for whatever reason. If you go out, it's a crapshoot on whether they talk to you again despite giving no clear indication that they're not into it. Feels like I have better chances walking my dog to meet someone. Story 22. Honestly, I really enjoy the peace and freedom I get from being single. I don't have to explain myself to anyone. I can do whatever I want and don't have to get it cleared to do it. I don't have to deal with someone's drama and baggage, and honestly, at this point, marriage is a financial and emotional risk that I don't care to take. I'm not opposed to a relationship, but I'm not going to chase it because why make my life harder to reach a milestone that close to or over 50% of people end up regretting? Story 23. I put in the work, did everything people have said I should do, get into better shape than 99%, have hobbies. I cook and clean. I take care of myself. I'm not slovenly put together. I don't smell bad. I'm not a schmuck. I'm socially active, yet I get absolutely 0 likes on online dating. And women have made themselves almost totally unapproachable in real life. There's no point in trying when everyone and everything keeps yelling no to everything you do or try, so I just gave up on the idea. Men being villainized for existing in this day and age doesn't help also. Story 24. I'm sure this is going to come off the wrong way or be taken the wrong way, but in 2025, I want a partnership. A true partnership. I don't want to pay all of someone else's bills. I don't want to work 40 to 50 hours a week while someone is a stay-at-home spouse, kids or no kids. I don't want to be the one responsible for retirement savings for both of us. Everything is astronomically more expensive and wages have not kept up. I don't think the traditional gender or household roles work in 2025, unless one person is making over $200,000 or you live in the middle of nowhere, Alabama with some middle-of-the-line remote job. Story 25. I've been out of the game for like 4 years, and most of my hesitation to start again is from seeing all of my other friends who are consistently dating. Almost all of them primarily use apps, and it's really cheap in dating as I see it. We go through their daily swipes, and if someone responds to them, you feel like they have to play a cat and mouse game to meet the person. Then there's a decent chance they get ghosted before the second date. I've always been somewhat unmotivated to date relative to other people, but now it just feels so fake and soul-crushing until you can get to the second date, so I just don't try. Story 26. Well, I discovered after being in relationships practically my whole adult life that once you get over the shock of being alone, it's actually really good and massively superior to being in a relationship. Put it this way, the joy you feel when your partner is happy with you is the baseline state for being happily single and not dating or looking to date. I've been trying to imagine a good relationship, but just the act of having to bring a person and their state of mind is far too intrusive for anything it could be worth. Maybe I'll soften eventually. Story 27. No haters, please, just sharing my experiences. I'm certain there are issues on both sides of the aisle. It seems that at this juncture of American society and societies elsewhere, I've traveled extensively and have lived in other cities and countries, the discourse in courtship is really off balance. The work it takes to meet and pursue someone with the hopes of having a connection is like playing a chess game in your mind. All the while, I've found that there's less and less effort from women to make a connection worthwhile. It's expensive. Everything with time, with money, with energy, with heart and soul is just ridiculous, and that's where we are today. It seems like a lot of women just don't care to put in an effort. Just imagine being in a relationship with that same energy compounded now under possibly one roof. I wish it was not this way, but here we are. This is us now. Story 28. I am damaged. I've always been single, and even though I wish differently, I'm capable of self-sabotage. I make good money, live in a nice house, and travel. My issue is that every facet of this life has shown me that finding a partner is impossible. I watched my parents at odds with life goals while growing up. My friends have gone through the same issues. My sister and her husband can't agree on the same things. I want a woman in my life. Someone who I can love, have a family with, retire with, grow old with. I'm terrified of finding someone who, when it doesn't work out, takes my retirement, my house, and possibly my children from me. I can still travel, go out, own my home, and having a woman in my life that doesn't have similar goals doesn't work. I'd rather be gone than be in a loveless relationship where we hate each other and then divorce. In divorce, I lose everything I have amassed at 38 years old, not including the time that has been lost. Story 29. My net worth is approaching $500,000. I have to put all that on the line. Occasionally, I find a gem of a woman, only to vibe with her, then later hear the dreaded words, "I have a boyfriend." Of course you do. You're amazing. And same for all the other amazing women. And I'm left with the scabs of society. No jobs, gold-digging, gossip queens who, thanks to the advent of dating apps and social media, think they're all God's gift to men, yet bring nothing to the table other than her body and her looks, both of which will fade in time. So I'm going to gamble my precious paradise I've created all on my own. My peace on a woman who has more toxicity than a container of rat poison? I don't even know. It's going to be so much easier to just be closed off. If I attract a gem, then I'll pursue. But I'm done with dating apps or singles events or trying to vibe with a stranger only to find out she's got a man. I'm done. Story 30. A huge issue I deal with is girls giving me their number but never responding. I haven't been in a relationship in 5 years, but I'm constantly trying. Most of my friends are girls though, so that obviously shows I'm not repulsive to women. Before you ask, the reason I'm not in a relationship with any of my friends is because I either don't want to be or can't be. They're already in a relationship and or are a lesbian. I think I just have really bad luck combined with the fact that girls constantly deal with terrible guys that it makes them super suspicious whenever they meet a new one, even if he's okay himself. Story 31. I find it genuinely difficult today because of social anxiety and bad childhood experiences. Feels like society wants to cram me into this forced performance of masculinity that I'm tired of keeping up when I put myself out there. I work a good job, I'm a good college student, I have friends, but when it comes to dating, it feels like I'm a product nobody wants. Additionally, the dating scene as a whole just feels so hostile. It feels like everyone has guns pointed at each other and they're trying to steal each other's effort, time, and care. Everyone wants to make their next partner pay for the mistakes of the last one and not taking that risk. Story 32. My testosterone is declining as I'm getting older. Don't get me wrong, I still work out and I'm ripped and bulked, and while I can still appreciate feminine beauty, one of the most interesting transformations is watching my 30-something self start viewing women as friends, even the model-worthy hot ones, like my prepubescent elementary school kid self. This ironically is making it easier for me to befriend women. The decline in testosterone has just made me more calm and kind of zen about dating and women in general. Like it's not something that drives me crazy or anxious anymore. If it happens, it happens. But like my hormones and the anger and insecurity that comes with it just aren't there to validate pulling game or some other wannabe incel alpha stuff. Story 33. Kind of felt like the decision was made for me. Growing up, my family was struggling. I spent a lot of my time trying to stabilize things, and I didn't want to drag anyone into that. Also, I didn't see a whole lot of happy relationships growing up, so I never had much faith in them. By the time I got everything stable, I was 25 and tried to take on some of my own demons. Mixed results. I'm 32 now. And then you toss in the fact that I'm an ace, and used to think I was the only one, and the type of person who needs a lot of alone time. Just figured it was never meant for me. I'm mostly at peace with it. Some days it bothers me, but I have a few close friends and family who understand. I'm not ashamed of it, to be honest. Story 34. The mental gymnastics are exhausting. The fighting over small, petty things, the feeling of being controlled from dusk till dawn, chore after chore after chore, while they sit on the couch talking to someone on FaceTime, not having any time for yourself, wanting to relax after work or enjoy a hobby. Forget about it. If you have a different opinion than they do about something, game over. You're not an individual anymore. You have to adhere to their beliefs. Going out of your way to make them happy and it never being enough. You should have done it like this, not like that, kind of remarks. How about appreciating the effort? Don't say that out loud though, because that means trouble. Just nod and say sorry. Their feelings and their health become more important than your own. They're up here and you're down there. Don't ever forget that. I guess what I'm saying is I have more free time to do the things I actually enjoy. I can relax after 12 hours of work and not have someone call me lazy for doing so. I can see my friends without being interrogated. I can work on my car and help friends with theirs. I'm just happier in general. Story 35. Because I'm selfish. I like my free time. I enjoy doing whatever I want, and dating requires effort that I'm not willing to put in. I don't like going to bars or parties or wherever else you can meet people, and online dating is very shallow, filled with people who put in way less effort than I do in trying to talk to them, and I don't even put in that much effort to begin with. I figured out from my previous relationships that I simply like being single. Having to keep a relationship going is exhausting, and I don't have the energy for it most of the time. Story 36. I've been mistreated by women for the last around 17 years. I don't really want to get into too many of the specifics. Most of my friends have always been women for as long as I've lived, but now that I'm in my 40s, There's not a lot of women who seem to be interested in making friends with a single guy, and the ones that do invariably already had an interest in dating me or developed it afterwards, regardless if they themselves were in a relationship or even married. Seems like no matter what type of partner they're fantasizing, they see the person in me. I'm exhausted with feeling like I'm being sought after because I'm going to fix whatever thing is broken in them or bothering them, and not because they actually care about who I am as an individual or developing a healthy partnership. I'm currently writing this post from a music festival where I met an extended group of friends of a friend for the first time, and as of last night, I see the pattern continuing again because another married woman is coming on to me. I don't know how to get it to stop without just not talking to people. Yes, people. Because gay men also assume I'm gay and I'm their answer too. And I'm absolutely fed up with how many interactions I've had with women where they assume I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing for intimacy. I'm treating you like a whole person. Treat me back the same way. If you can't, I have no time for you. I'm not spending any extra energy trying to make you trust me. That's your loss. Story 37. The combination of focusing on building up job stability, not really enjoying dating, being forthcoming about how I wouldn't actually date the majority of women I interact with, and then also having hobbies and passion projects. Not to sound like a complete degenerate, but I'd rather be at the racetrack than on a first date with a chick if I'm not really into her. I literally just canceled a date with a chick for next weekend because I knew I wasn't feeling it. There was a time in my life I wanted to meet as many women as possible, and now I assuredly do not for the purposes of dating. I also have always been fairly comfortable being alone, and when I do date, I do a cost-benefit analysis. You don't have to be perfect, but if I see my life becoming outright worse for committing to you, I simply cannot. For years, I fooled around with this chick who did really like me and wanted to date me, but there's no chance I'm dating someone who has codependency or boundary issues with their siblings to the point where you'd be dating three heads. Should try to market it like there'd been upswing if I would just commit, but that's not how it works. Story 38. Women think that, women have actually told me this, if they show little to no interest, it makes the guy more interested. This maybe works in the movies, but not in real life. There was a woman I was talking with for a while. We kept trying to plan something, but it kept on falling through in her hands, so whatever, I did my part. She keeps dodging me. Okay, bye. I take out her friend instead. No biggie. Well, that didn't sit well. She blew up my phone, saying, "It's weird that you're going out with her now when you and I have been trying to plan something for months." She ended up calling me and giving me a whole story. So many encounters like that where it's just so exhausting. Story 39. It's expensive. I'm not well off enough, yet, to treat a partner the way I'd like, so it feels irresponsible of me to have one. I'm taking care of my mother, who's elderly with health issues, and it makes it hard to explain to a significant other when I have to choose her over them. She was a single mom my whole life and gave me everything, and now I've got to do the same for her because I think she deserves it and I want to. I fall in love with people easily, even outside of romantic situations, and it makes me easy to take advantage of. That can't happen if I'm not with someone. Being single has a lot of upsides too. I get to partake in my hobbies and make plans on a whim or help people who ask at a moment's notice because I'm not always obligated to this other person. I also get to go out and be degenerate once in a while with single friends. Nothing crazy, just clubbing or casinos or dance festivals because I'm not settled down yet. And perhaps the peak reason, I just haven't fallen in love with someone like that yet. I'm sure if the right woman comes along, it trumps every petty excuse, and I'll fight like hell to figure it out for us, but that idealized experience is not something I'm going way out of my way to find because I'm quite content with my current lifestyle. If it happens, it happens. Story 40. Women's greed is too overwhelming. They have lists as thick as Webster's dictionary and are not the female equivalent to all of their demands, and the list is demands, not likes. Women are too over-influenced by social media and friends who are angry single females who hate any woman who has something that they don't. More than once, I've dated a woman and everything was going great. Then sometime after meeting her friends, things started going strange, then total crap. I'm human, so I'm willing to accept that I may have done something wrong, but I don't know because the woman never said anything, just ghosted me or became a witch. Complaining about any and everything and never answering the question, what's wrong? Here's a top secret tip for women. Men do not have supernatural powers. We cannot read minds, nor can we see or understand your hints. If you want us men to know something, then you must speak to us in basic words and clear sentences. Story 41. I tried putting myself out there last year. Found that women in my age bracket, early 30s, do not have their lives together. It was a complete mess. Heard, you don't feel like you're going to physically threaten me, and that's a turnoff. Heard about how they were into homeless guys, and it was frustrating to try to make that work. Heard about more baby daddy or baby mama drama than I ever cared to know to begin with. Being told that listening and participating in conversation is a red flag. Getting told I love you when you've been texting for 3 days and haven't even met them yet. Then the very rare and precious woman who actually seems to be interested, actually wants you, but just can't get her mental health under control to not sabotage things. Add to that the high expectations that internet dating puts on man. Yeah, forget that. Story 42. Most of my relationships, I've been cheated on, either physically or emotionally, gaslighting into making it seem like it was my fault, and then therapy to find that I'm indeed not crazy. Long story short, a majority of women in the US have standards so high they think themselves immune to fault, and everything is the man's fault. I'm on my little revenge arc. I'm building my empire, and when it's built, only those who help may partake in its spoils. I don't have time for some spoiled person who thinks herself a queen but has no class, manners, or dignity. I'd rather be alone than be used until you find someone else. Story 43. I'm 23, working a 10-hour job while also studying, which leaves me with almost no time or energy for anything else. Dating feels more like an evaluation than a connection. It often seems like men are constantly being judged based on income, personality, hobbies, looks, etc. Like it's some kind of competition. It doesn't feel mutual. It feels transactional, like you're earning the privilege of being in a relationship rather than building something together. To be honest, I don't have the emotional bandwidth for all that. Dating as a man today feels like being on a never-ending job interview. And as someone who's very introverted, that constant pressure is exhausting. Also, the idea of dating purely for intimacy doesn't appeal to me at all and is a disgusting proposition. I don't see any upside to dating. It's a bigger gamble than the trade market. Story 44. I'm married now, but when I was single after a tough breakup, every interaction I had on dating apps felt so artificial. Even the ones that led to dates didn't feel like a natural connection to another person, so they rarely became more than short, fun flings. Outside of meeting women through mutual friends, I had more or less decided to just work on myself and my goals and hope something came along. Eventually, I met the one who would become my wife at work. That was usually a big no-no for me, but she was persistent and kept making moves, so I finally asked her on a date, and we clicked immediately. I feel like social media has groomed us into presenting a version of ourselves online that isn't true to who we are as people, so anything starting out online is almost doomed to fail. There are expectations, of course, but it wasn't for me. Story 45. Honestly, two things. The first one is effort. I tried to have 3 dating apps, doing some public activities, etc., but never really landing anything interesting. The time and effort were huge. I think it is mostly because of a couple of neurodivergent conditions that put people off and in the let's have intimacy mentality. I'm average looking. I train a lot and have a very athletic body, and I'm scarred, like I was treated as a kid. I fear women in dating apps or friends' stories didn't help. I have my own house that I love, and the idea I could get in a relationship and at some point be forced out of it, my brain blacks out. The biggest fear, honestly, is a woman saying I did something I didn't and being canceled. Those risks I know are quite minimal, but so damn horrible in my head. I don't even want to try. I really don't care about intimacy. I really miss having someone around that I trust and love, though. I don't know. I need to get some therapy, I guess. Story 46. Honestly, if my wife passed away today, I wouldn't even bother attempting to date. My wife and I have what, in my mind, is the perfect relationship. She has her money, I have mine. She pays certain bills, I pay certain bills. The money we each have left after bills is ours to spend as we see fit. If I want to camp for a few days or run dogs, I go. I don't need to ask. Same with her. Sometimes she goes to camp just to get away for the weekend. We tell each other what we're doing, but we don't ask each other permission. We don't check up on each other unless one of us isn't home and we expect the other one. We have some things we do together, mostly dog-related events. I do all the field work with the dogs. She does the show work. She goes to some of the field events, usually the ones where we're members, and she helps out with club functions. I go to some of the show events. I doubt I would ever find another woman like her. To be honest, I see all the drama associated with dating these days, and I have no desire to deal with it. I see some of the stuff posted here on Reddit, and I honestly don't know how you deal with it. Well, if you like these stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're gonna love this. Catch you in that video.